first thing I go to is, and you mentioned this earlier, Dave, is whose are you? Where is your identity? Where do you place your value? And if we're consistently placing our value in worldly things, whether that's possessions, job titles or status, promotions, things like that, we are always going to be left short and left wanting because the world is never going to fulfill us. But where we can find that fulfillment is when you put your identity and place your value in whose you are as a son of the King, a child of the King, right? And that King is never going to fail you. And so when there seems to be a setback, right? When there seems to be the fall off the wagon per se, I haven't been in the gym for a week, I haven't read the Bible in 3 or 4 days, or it's been a week and I haven't really dove into the devotional that I told the guys I was going to do. Okay, well, what are you going to do tomorrow? How do you get back into the habit and the discipline and the routine that you spoke about? And where do you place that? I think that identity is, it's okay. You're still valued, right? God still loves you just because you didn't open the devotional today. But we're going to get back into it again. And so I think that's where guys consistently feel like I can't catch a break or I'm always unlucky or whatever it might be, is I have to wonder and I would have to ask is where are you placing your value? Where are you placing your identity? And if your identity is in the job promotion or the status or the worldly possession, then you're always going to be wanting and you're always going to feel like you've fallen short and something's going wrong.
That's right. The word that comes to mind, to put myself in someone's shoes like that is overwhelmed. I think it's got to be an overwhelming feeling, right? And it seems almost too big to tackle. This might be not a great analogy, but I think it's someone who struggles with food and body image and that's severely overweight, right? You get to a point, I think, where it's just like, this is too much. Why should I even try to eat, count my macros tomorrow or go for a 10-minute walk? It's past the point of no return. It's too overwhelming. I'm not even going to try. And I think, first thing to say is this is hard. Like we're trying to become elite, right? Fighting for this is, God didn't promise this is going to be easy. Acknowledge that. This is not going to be easy. And so to me, what's worked for me is I got to break it down because I get overwhelmed when I'm trying to change your life. That's no small feat. So I think you got to, kind of head down, let's break this out. What can I do tomorrow? Literally, like you said, about one day. What change can I make tomorrow? I'm going to put on my calendar. I'm going to pass one test tomorrow, and I'm going to get that done. And then I don't know what a year's going to hold. I don't know what 5 years is going to hold. I'm just going to worry about tomorrow because my little brain gets overwhelmed when I try to tackle, eat an elephant. You can't do that. You just get overwhelmed. And so I think just doing one thing. Another analogy I like to use is it's kind of like in the business world, working on your business versus in your business. If you're trying to work just, on yourself while you're just kind of in the daily grind, it's very hard. I think you need to kind of step outside yourself and let's work on Dave for a little bit. And let's figure out where are my struggles and then what do I need to change? And let's write that down. Let's make a plan. Let's, join a fight of men that hold me accountable, that can encourage me. I know I'm going to fall off. I know I'm going to get a strike here or there. But how can I set those things to make sure that, I make it to the end? And some of those things, I think those are some of the practical ways that I would, try to avoid that overwhelming feeling because we are going to go through it. And I think that's what I would say.
I really like that analogy of the overwhelming feeling because I think we all feel that. And what I want guys to understand is that no matter how far along we are in whatever set journey that we're on, that feeling of overwhelming, or being overwhelmed comes onto us, And I don't, for me, I see men in my life that have come into my life, and I always, I just aspire to be able to do what he does as often or as regular or in the amount of depth that he does it, whether that's spiritually, relationally, whatever it might be. And so when I look at guys like that who in different areas, I feel like that guy's got it going on, and something to pursue, which is always valuable to have that goal and someone to look up to and chase, right? I have to think about, what kind of steps can I take to get there? I've watched Simon Sinek talk one time, and he talked about discipline and leadership. And he said, what does brushing your teeth for 2 minutes a day do? He's like, nothing, unless you do it every day for 2 minutes. What is going to the gym or going on a walk? He talked about that. That's a good example. What does a 10 or 20 minute walk do? Nothing, unless you walk for 10 or 20 minutes every single day.
Right.
And by doing that, now you've built the discipline. It's not overwhelming. You're eating the elephant one bite at a time, right? And so you start to use the discipline, the habit, the little things that we can do today and tomorrow that will then eventually lead to bigger gains later. But it's the little things day after day. They're going to make a big difference. It's this guy, man, he spends an hour every morning and on his knees in prayer and reading his Bible. And I got like 5 minutes. Right. Good. Open your devotional for 5 minutes. Take one verse and read it for 5 minutes. And do that every day. And what you're going to notice is that overwhelming feeling starts to go down. Yep. Right? That's right. And where you're being grounded and finding your identity starts to become more apparent. And now the bad days don't seem quite as bad anymore, whether few or far between, or the storms that you have to weather aren't quite as big, where there's more space between them, because now you're grounding yourself in Scripture, right? You're pointing your identity. You know where you belong. You know who you belong to.
Yeah, that's right. One other thing that came to mind while you were talking about that, Bobby, is the word motivation. You're going to come out of kickoff motivated. There's no question about it. I mean, you're going to be jacked ready to go, and you're going to be ready to fight. But then the next day's going to come, or the next weekend's going to come. And I've been motivated at times in my life, and I've been at times in my life, man, where I got no motivation. And what I've learned is, motivation can be fleeting. It can come and go, which is why going back to just having an identity, having daily disciplines, having, what it's become for me, and I hope it comes for everyone in the areas of life that are most important to you, it becomes a healthy obsession. I mean, it really does. I mean, I am obsessed with being a spiritual leader in my household. I mean, it's just a non-negotiable. My dad was a great father. He's going to be married to my mom 60 years next August. But he was not the spiritual leader of my family. And, it's a non-negotiable again. I'm not letting that happen. I am obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with being healthy. I want to fight for my family, be healthy, and be able to do physically whatever they need, right? And I'll never get probably spiritually where I want to be, but I'm always going to be on a pursuit, an obsession to know my Heavenly Father and learn about Him and His heart every day of my life. That's just an obsession I have, and it feeds everything else I do in my life. But I think if you're just relying on motivation, it's going to be hard, and you're going to fall off more than you prefer. I think doing a lot of the things we've talked about to get to that healthy obsession about just something you're pursuing, passionate in life and fighting for, is a much better path.
I think too, recognizing when you're high in motivation. Yeah. You said that there are times when you're really motivated and times when you're not as much. But those times when you are really motivated, I don't know about you, but for me, I need to lean into those times and take advantage of those times and really pour into myself during those times, because then when it becomes a time where I'm not as motivated in that season, now I have some things to rest on, pull from, right? That's right. And so because when you're not motivated, it's easy to quit. Yep. It's easy to stop or give up. And I don't want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go into the gym this morning. I'm just not motivated to do it. But knowing after having formed the habit that you've done, you know that, I didn't cut it today. It wasn't my best day today, but it was better than not being here. It was better than not doing it. Right. Man, my prayer this morning it just wasn't that great. I just didn't feel it, but it was better than shutting the book and not doing it and staying in bed, right? So I think that I would say too that I find myself, when I get into those motivated seasons, that I just lean into those things too, and I just consistently feed myself, whether that's reading or podcasts or whatever it might be, just feeding myself mentally and spiritually, because I know that there will be a day that comes along when that lags a little bit, and I've got to rest in the time that I built into myself.
Yeah. Honestly, I've never even thought of it that way. kind of like take advantage of it, right? When you're high, take advantage of it. You know, whatever that means in that situation. Right. But really identify. I'm on a high right now. Let's get something done right now. Right. Don't put it off. Take advantage of that. You know, that emotional high or that motivating period of time.